information. So I also have to make my report precise and short, but and simple. But I have to pinpoint that important message I want to impart to you. Okay, my topic for today is quality education in the eyes of the Generation Z. So you see, I make the two words in color yellow. I highlight it. One is education and one is Generation Z. Okay, so we have to know what is the real meaning of education, in particular the word quality education. Number two, how well do we know our Generation Z student? Okay, so first of all, we have this term, this terminology, this definition. What is quality? Quality, if we define it in a very simple way, it's a degree of excellence of something. Okay, and education means today we view education as being there, giving knowledge of our place in the world and the skills to work in it. So education includes knowledge and skills. Okay, when you giving education to our students, okay, we not only teach them the knowledge, we also to train their skills. Okay, so students, we teach them knowledge, we train their skills for what? For them in future, they have this courage and confidence to face the future and to reach the point of success. So that is education, and that is quality education. So this education, it should be, we have to teach a student to learn from the past and be prepared in their future. That is the essence of today's education. Okay, so there's a saying, I have got this saying from the net that says the past is where you learn the lesson and the future is where you apply the lesson. So in our school, quality education means you have to teach your student based on what they need and how to prepare for the future, and that based on what the teacher thinks is the best for them. We usually we educator, we think this is best, this thing is best for our students. They have to learn these things. But how well do we know that these things it's really they need for their future? So that is, so sometimes people hate to study. Sometimes people don't want to study. Sometimes students, they just don't want to go to school. They think because for them, they're just wasting their time because they're learning something they don't want, and they think that they cannot use it in their future. So the very essence of the quality education, we should teach what the student need. We should teach them the skills. We should give them the tools and teach them how to survive in the future. So my school is Philippine Chengkwang High School. As I mentioned in my video a while ago, the word Chengkwang itself, is a Chinese pronunciation. Okay, it's a Chinese pronunciation. That means my school is a Filipino Chinese school. The first speaker, Ma'am Elaine, she shares her best practices in her school, and she works in a public school. Okay, the second speaker, Teacher Kat, she shares her experience, her best practices in the settings of a private preschool or private early childhood school. Okay, now I'm going to share my best practices where most of the Filipino Chinese schools here, we can say we're the international school, because we only teaching this Chinese language. We just add this Chinese language in our curriculum. So we often call ourselves as Filipino Chinese schools. Okay, and I know that most of the educator from the Philippines, from the public school, they have a little knowledge about the Filipino Chinese schools. So I will take this opportunity, this chance, and also to introduce how the Filipino Chinese schools make how the Filipino Chinese schools make some activities, how they educate our students. Okay, so as a students of Filipino Chinese schools, okay, they have to learn Chinese, English, and Filipino language. Okay, even though you're a pure Filipino students and you want to enroll in Filipino Chinese schools, our school's policy is you have to learn Chinese language. If you don't want to learn Chinese language, probably I'm sorry, we cannot accept you, because the existence of the schools, the philosophy of our schools is we want to teach them the Chinese language, because we know as students, if they learn more than one language, more than two languages, because in Philippines we learn Filipino and we also learn English, but you have another language, foreign language, that will be a big edge for you in your future. And mostly in Filipino Chinese schools, we're not only teaching Mandarin, but we also teach them the dialect from the southern part of China. It's a Fujian. Okay, this is a language part, but we also teach them Chinese culture. Okay, we're not only teaching Filipino culture, we also teach Chinese culture. So this offense creates some confusions of the students. How come in Chinese they're doing this, and how come Filipinos are doing that? Okay, so later on I will share how we solve this problem in our best practices. Okay, I'm now sharing you a old school approach. That's how Chinese schools how the Chinese schools is giving education to the students. Before, the old school style is the teachers only indoctrinating, and then just give lecture, and then just if you have questions, you just ask the teacher. Teachers will just solve your doubts, eliminate your doubts. That's all. That is the role of teacher. So in this picture, you can see the whole settings of old school style of a Philippine Chinese school is a teacher-centered school. Okay, the student, all the students just sit there and listen to the teachers, and the teachers can ask if they have questions. If they don't have questions, they just follow everything what the teacher says. You have to write this down, you have to read this, you have to memorize these things. That's all. And then you just take the exam. They are the quiz-based education. If you pass the exam, you pass the quiz, you pass. It's not assessment. You just have to pass the exam. That's all. So this is the old school style. But this approach can be used in 30 to 40 years ago. In this present time, this is not applicable anymore. So we have to ask ourselves as educator, how well do you know the Gen Z students? What are their characteristics? What are their thinkings? You have to understand them, because you cannot use the old school approach, old school styles to teach the present generation students. So, if you compare the three generations, Generation X, Generation Y, and this Generation Z, so you will notice Generation Y is the so-called digital immigrants. They are digital immigrants, and they are the people that they can easily cope up with the changes. They can embrace changes easily. They like to learn, okay? But when it comes to Generation Y, they are already digital natives, okay? And during their time, it's a time of the social media. The Facebook, the Twitter, Instagram, everything's pop up. Okay? And then they are the one so-called the multi-screen user. Okay? But in terms of this technology, we can say they are the best compared to the Generation Y. But in terms of their characteristics, their whole being, they're impatient, they lack of confidence, they easily get tired, they easily give up. So that is the characteristic of Generation Y. But when it evolves to Generation Z, so mostly the characteristics of Generation Z is from Generation Y. Okay, so if we check the background of this Generation Z, number one, of course, we can say they are our first digital natives. Actually, they're not the first. They are the first full-fledged digital natives. And diversity is their norm, okay? And they are pragmatic and financially minded person, okay? And many factors contribute to their mental health challenges. And they are the shrewd consumers, and they have a belief that they can work better together. So these are the characteristics of the Generation Z students, okay? And we, educator, we have to focus on their characteristics, and then we have to change, to evolve, and to enhance our education system to a kind of education system that match them, that fit them. For them, if the education is not fit them, it's an education that they think that will not fit them. It's an education that they will not be use it in their future. So for them, it's just simply an ordinary education. It's not a quality education for them. So if they have this kind of mindset, the students, they will not took seriously in their school. Okay, so the students will just being playful, naughty inside the classroom. They would not pay attention in their studies, and teachers every day just would get mad and angry and always complaining that students are not listening to them. They're not paying attention. They're not interested in their lessons. Yes, they're not interested in your lessons, in your lecture, because they think your lessons will not help them in their future. So before we can install this quality education to our present students, to our current Generation Z students, we should know first what are their characteristics, what are their needs, and how can we help them. Okay. Of course, based on the keywords that on their characteristics, they are the persons that they are diverse with the multicultural mindset. Okay, so we have to teach them the diversity and the cultural intelligence, and teach them how to embrace changes, okay, and how to accept something that it's not known for them, that's something new. We have to teach them to embrace those, okay, to open their heart and mind to accept those new things, those new challenges. And they are, of course, they are the digital natives, so that's why they are good in computer, in technology, but we have to teach them the proper technology skills. Okay, the proper technology skills. Okay, they are the persons that they have this pragmatic and financially minded. So we have to train them that they should be active learning with a growth mindset, and they have to develop their interpersonal communication skills. And we all know the present generation students, this Generation Z students, the major problem is their mental health, particularly during now, especially in this time, in this pandemic time. Lots of students right now, they have this anxiety, depression. Okay, they're not happy in everything they have done. They just easily get angry, and they're not satisfied in their life. Sometimes some people, they have this attempt to suicide. So when it comes to these characteristics of these students, we have to take attention on their emotional intelligence, and then we have to teach them how to think critically and how to think positively. Of course, when it comes to shrewd means fast, okay? But shrewd here means efficiency, okay? It means efficiency. So how efficient they are, okay? So Efficient is the part of is one part of being a leader. So we have to teach them how to think creatively, again, teach them and how to judge things properly and how to make decisions, okay, in a right way. And then, of course, we have to teach them the leadership skills. So these are the skills we have to teach our Generation Z based on their characteristics. So in our school, when it comes to diversity, because our schools is the Filipino-Chinese schools, so the main culture there, as I mentioned a while ago, is the Chinese culture and the Filipino culture. Or it's a Chinese culture and Filipino culture. Students usually get confused the belief and the practices and the traditions of the two cultures. So we want these students, they have to experience this culture and then teacher teach them how to accept the foreign culture. Okay, for the Filipino students, for the local students or the Filipino students, Chinese culture is a foreign culture. Okay, so we usually teach them in Chinese. Example, we Filipinos have this Filipino language month, the Buwan ng Wika, and then we also celebrate Christmas. We also celebrate our New Year. Okay, but in Chinese, they have their Chinese New Year celebrations. They also celebrate Confucius Day. By the way, the Confucius Day is the Teachers' Days in every Chinese schools. It's celebrated every September 28 because that is the birthday of Confucius. So, and then there's also Mid-Autumn Festival. In Philippines, we usually call that a mooncake festival because people is during that time, people are eating mooncake and having a dice game. Okay, so in this, through this activity, we always compare the two different culture. Okay, like just like New Year and the Chinese New Year. Okay, we can say New Year we always we do with these things. We have these firecrackers, and then we have family reunion. We have this banding. But in Chinese, is also we're also doing that. Okay, they have something similar. So, but we have some practices in Chinese New Year. We're doing this in Chinese New Year. Example, we will impart that. We will tell the students in Chinese New Year they have the one belief that if you can stay overnight and having the light open in the house, that means it would bring prosperity to the family. That means that because the light means positive energy. So we share these things, but we tell them this is only the beliefs and the traditions of the Chinese New Year. Maybe you can think this is some kind of superstitious, but this is a traditions of the Chinese people. Okay, so you should not make fun of this. You have to respect their culture. So this is how we teach the students about the diversity. So just another example. Every October we celebrate this United Nations Day. So the kids, the students, they're wearing different costumes. Okay, different costumes from different countries. And the purpose is just only to have this parade to showcase their costumes, but we have this real intention to teach them how to respect the foreign culture. So this is the respect is the key, and respect is the main point of teaching them the diversity, the essence of diversity. Okay, so we teach the students become multicultural. So it's through introducing foreign culture, foreign practices, okay, and teach them how to accept it, the acceptance, and how to accept it with respect. So usually I will teach my students not to imitate the accent of, just like me, I have the accent also because I'm a Chinese and then I study in a Chinese school. Okay, so I have this accent. So every nationals have their own accent. We have to respect them. Okay, so this is, if you really a multicultural person, okay, you have to respect the culture of others. So this is what we teach our students. Then we all know that our students, that our present generations, they are the digital natives. Okay, so they are also a pragmatic and financially minded person. So every year in our school, we have this so-called BISPO. What is BISPO? It's Business Expo. This Business Expo for our high school students includes a junior and senior high school. We teach them the skills of entrepreneurship. Okay, the skills of entrepreneurship. That is during a time of face-to-face. Okay, and we also teach the students the proper technology skills. Like our senior high school students, they are required before they graduate. They are required to take a Microsoft Office specialist training and exam. We encourage them to take the exam, and then we train them hard in order for them to pass the exam and to have this international certificate. Okay, we always remind our student, we remind them that, right, you're good in technology, you're better than the teacher. Because you're digital natives, the teachers, they are digital immigrants only. Okay, but you should not put all your attention in just playing online games or doing something that maybe will not be a big help in their future. Okay, then this pandemic time came. Okay, last year, as Ma'am Kat says, we have this longest lockdown, 1 year and 2 months. Okay, so everything changed. This new normal came, everything changed. Okay, so we mix these two things, the BISPO and this Microsoft Office training, into we teach them the digital marketing. Okay, so now in our schools, our senior high school students, of course with some junior high school students, they are required to sell something online. Okay, of course under the mentorship and the observations and of the advisors, diba? So these students, what they're selling online, how they sell it, what are their platform. So everything should be written down and everything should be reported to the teachers, and let the teachers approve it, let their advisor approve it. And then the students, they will write a marketing plan, a digital marketing plan to the teachers. Okay, so their grades will be based on how well they run their digital business, their online selling business. So students, they will maximize this online learning. Okay, they will not just, the students, they will use their knowledge in computer and their knowledge also, their entrepreneurship knowledge in a proper way, that these things will help them in the future. Okay, so now this the first year, this 2020 to 2021, we focus teaching the students how to sell online, or how to make online business, and then how they can market their products digitally. Okay, so when it comes to mental health, okay, so the current students, they easily get depressed, they easily get tired. Okay, they always have a lot of things inside their heart. They always not happy. Okay, they're mad at their parents for not supporting them, not to give everything they want. They always get comparing themselves with the other classmates. How come my classmates have a better family background? The parents give them a bigger allowance, and I just only have this allowance. And my classmates, they can go abroad, they can travel abroad, and I just wanted to stay here during summertime. Okay, so this mindset makes the students that they have this kind of anxiety. Out of the blue, anxiety came, and then they just easily depressed, easily give up. Sometimes they just have this closed door mindset, that they just stay at their room and they don't want to go out, they don't want to eat. Sometimes they have this attempt to kill themselves, suicide. Okay, so our schools, we have noticed this problem, the problem of this Generation Z. So we have a lot of partnership, okay, organization, the charitable or religious organization. So today I choose one of our partners, okay, it's the Chuchi Buddhist Foundation. So I think in Philippines, this is a international organizations, and this organization is they helping those less fortunate people. Okay, so every year we invite the officers of these organizations to give talk and to share some insights to let our students know how fortunate they are. Even though they don't have a lot of money, they live in a small house, okay, they just only have 3 meals a day. It's not like others, they have 5 meals, 6 meals a day, okay, they cannot travel abroad, they just only travel around in the area, but still they are the fortunate one. I always request this organization to show some films to our students, showing that the disaster in every corner of this world, okay, people are suffering, people have nothing to eat, they don't have clothes, they don't have shelter, but they have to let our students to reflect themselves how fortunate they are. I still have my parents with me, I still have my own little house, I still have money, I still have this chance to go to school to study, to accept education. Okay, so in our school, in order to minimize this problem, this mental health problem, we teach the students the sense of gratitude. Okay, for us, if our present generations or Generation Z students, they have this sense of gratitude, okay, they will become a more positive person. Okay, they will always think, even though I have only 1 peso and my friends have 100 peso, but I still be grateful because I still have 1 peso, and teach them never compare to others. Okay, and teach them how to handle things positively. Teach them they have to give thanks to their parents, even to God, to friends, to teachers, for what they have right now. Okay, this sense of gravity is very much important in this character building of the present students, especially in those young age, because while they're still young, instill this sense of gratitude in their mindset. Okay, and this will solve the problem of their mental health, solve the problem of the students' anxiety, depressions, anything else, and can drive away their energy, negative energy in their mind and in their heart. Okay, so truth. Okay, truth, as I mentioned a while ago, truth means fast. Okay, but what is fast? Fast means efficient. So efficient is part of a leader, of being a leader. Okay, so you want to become an efficient leader, okay, equivalent to become a good leader. Okay, so being a team is very much important. How can you share your how do you say that? How can you share your blessings to others is also important, because how can you take care of a team? How can you lead a team? And how can you share your blessings to others? It's a qualification of being a good leader. So that's why I give importance in sports. Okay, I want all my students to involve in sports, different kinds of sports. Okay, it's basketball, volleyball, okay, even though it's a table tennis or any sports. Okay, and then in our schools, we require our students to involve in community service at least twice a year. Okay, the purpose is, of course, I want them to plan. Okay, I want them to plan how can they help this less fortunate people in their nearby community, okay, by not asking money from their parents, but instead they have to save their own allowance little by little, okay, and then with that small amount, minimal amount, they have to use this to make some contribution to their community. How can they help the community with that minimal amount? Okay, so this is one way we teaching our students how to become an efficient leader. Okay, it's through sports and community service. So this is also to teach them how to work better together. Okay, so these are the activity. These are the practices we have implement this to our student. Okay, we implement this to our students. So we think these activities, these practices, we mold our students into a better person. So I've been in this school for 6 years. Next school year is my 7th year. Okay, and I've been in this industry for, if Ma'am Elaine is 11 years and Ma'am Kat, Teacher Kat is 22 years, I'm almost 30 years in this industry. Okay, so I have seen a lot of things. I have witnessed the evolve of the education system. Okay, and I have witnessed also the students from generation Y to generation Z. Okay, even from the preschooler, probably the generation Alpha. Okay, so I still believe through the activities I have planned for my students will be the best for my students. Okay, will be the best for my students. So the old school approach, I don't think it will be applicable to our students now, and will be not also benefits to our students. So in my school, we don't use that old school approach anymore, but we have changed this to this I like this more practical school approach, this education approach. Okay, number one, we make the character building as the foundation of our education system. Particularly in preschool, we're not in hurry to teach them how to write ABCD. We were not in hurry to teach them how to count 1, 2, 3, but instead we teach our students, our preschoolers, how to become a good students. Of course, how to a loving students. Okay, we emphasize their character building. We at the young age we teach them what is wrong and what's right. Okay, we teach them how to help other people. The teacher always shares stories, because in our preschool department, of course, those kids, you cannot just teach them how a lot of theory, but you can teach them through storytelling. But it's very important to let them know what is right and what's wrong. I believe some people will say they're too young to understand. No, you have to teach them while they're still young. They understood, they knew everything, they just cannot express it. You teach them every day, you teach them a little by little. It will emerge in their mind. They will just knew it. In one day, they will use it. They will realize, oh, this is what my teacher teach me. I should not steal, I should not say bad words, I should not cheat during exam, because this is what my teacher teach me during my younger years in my preschool time. Okay, because knowledge, okay, knowledge learning, you can learn from age 1 to age 80, age 90, up to 100 years old. Okay, as long you have this will to learn. But character is different. If you did not teach them well this values education, You did not impart this good value in them. So don't expect when they grow up, they will become a better person, a person that can benefit the whole community, the whole society. Okay. So our first step is we emphasize this character building, and then next is the knowledge learning. Of course, with the knowledge as the foundation, we give them this skills development. Okay, we teach them the skills. Okay, so after skills, it's the last part is immersion time. Immersion part. When you say immersion, everything you learn from this character building, this knowledge, and this skills development, you have to apply it. You have to apply it. Teachers have to give chance to the students to apply everything what they learn. Because if you just only teach them, and then they need to memorize it only, as time goes on, they will forget everything. Okay, teach them. So that is education in action. That is immersion. Okay, so this character building, knowledge learning, skills development, immersion, this is our new practices now in this past 6 years. Okay, we just don't become this this teacher centered. Again, it's not only, we're not also saying that we are the student centered. We can say we are the teacher students partnership. Okay, with this teacher student partnership, we let the students to apply everything they learn, and the teachers will be their 24/7 advisors. Okay, of course, it's not when I say 24/7, this means when the students has any doubts or problem, they anytime can contact the teacher in the right time. I'm not saying they can call the teachers at the midnight, during midnight time, no. Okay, so this is our practices. These are the practices in our schools. Okay, so this is my short and simple sharings. Thank you very much. Hello.